Okay, let's open up this bitch. So, let's see. I need small. Do I need small screwdriver? Yes, I need. Let's take off the charging handle since the LCT gearbox is weird like that. Okay. Why is this first screw so long to unscrew? I don't understand why they threaded almost the whole way. Okay, so now detach this. Lift this. It can go like that, and the gearbox is out. Okay, don't lose this. Now we need to undo the selector, which will be super tight. I see a little sharp corner on here, so I'll take that down immediately. Okay, let's switch to an hex head. So first, obviously, we'll take out the spring. So twist, push in. I guess we cannot because the spring is back fully pushed against the back. I don't have a good hole for that. I'm not sure which one you used, but these holes are for the ARL. Let's do it this way then. Okay, that's done. Let's undo the screws. Even actually before undoing the screws, let's take out the first one that is honestly not as important. We need to take off the shield, and there is a little notch on the gearbox that is sticking out, so you can put a flat head in there and bend it upwards a little bit so you can help yourself, but since I take it apart already, it shaved that top a little bit. That's kind of usual on these, so for me it's way easier to take off. The button fallen out thanks to me pushing it. On yours it will be really hard to take off, so you can use the screwdriver here to get a little leverage on these points, and then you can use pliers like this, mind the wires so you don't fuck them up, and you can pull it out using the pliers, but it will be way harder. You can also bend the arms up a little bit since they are really on there. So let's make a little bit tidy of a place here so I don't lose anything. As a precaution, I will take my magnet actually to put it underneath of the air anti-reversal latch. So I just put it on this side here so it doesn't explode on me somehow. It shouldn't. I mean, I'm more worried about the trigger honestly, but on some gearboxes the ARL can be a bitch. So let's undo the 3 main screws, and let's take off also this plastic cover that is there just to so you don't see the gears through the trigger location, even when you have it fully assembled. Like that. Let's pry it out a little bit, just a little bit, not fully. Let's take some tool. Here it is. And let's push on the trigger holes, these 2 holes, on the gears itself, so they are not stuck on the upper half that we are lifting out. Okay, so I'm pushing, even ARL hole is here. Okay, so I'm pushing on all of it just to release it. When you flip it, you immediately want to check if there are any shims left. Place them back where they belong. You can take off the top shims on this gear, as they are most likely to get out of their way as you manipulate the tappet plate. Now we can basically remove everything. We can remove the gears, which will be a little stuck. I again check the bottom if there are any shims. If there are, I put them back on the gear itself. Here is the dreaded ARL, which is now held by the magnet, which we don't need anymore. We can take out the cylinder and everything with the tappet plate. I'll show how to put the springs back just in a minute. This longer spring, fatter, a little bit bigger, is for the tappet plate. There is also another spring for the trigger contacts, traditional trigger contacts. So this one is for the trigger contacts, is way smaller. The bigger one is for the tappet plate. ARL also has its own spring. It has this little bendy little shit. This spring sits on the ARL. The ARL sits in the gearbox like this, when we look at it from the top. And this spring goes on the bottom part of the ARL anti-reversal latch, and it clips. I don't know if it can be seen. It clips long and little short, somehow, I don't know how to call it. It clips behind like this, and the long part sits here, sits here on the gearbox shelf, basically here on this position, in this edge, not down here, but here. So when the anti-reversal latch is in, trying to do it on the video. This spring looks a little bendy than it should, but basically you put it in like this, and here is the spring, the long end, and if I zoom it on the video a little bit, here is the long end sitting in this, like that. If you need to take out any gears, you can. I mean, again, I'm looking for shims. There is one. So let's place it back, right? They usually like to stay on the gears as they are looped. So the loop itself will make them not fall out. Here we have the cutoff lever, which you will probably sometimes want to replace because it gets worn after many shots. On standard gearbox, this is way too big of a screwdriver for this. Let's see if I have more enough. Yep. So you can take it off. There is a spring also in the window here. So you can just undo this screw. I mean, I'm not taking it off here. Probably I wanted to put a little bit of loop, but it's working okay. But I mean, let's do it. Fuck it. So there is little tiny screw. This is like M1.5. So not a lot of torque is good an idea to apply on it, just a little bit. Okay, so on some gearboxes, on V3 gearboxes, the cutoff lever can get stuck a little bit if it's not freely moving, and it can cause the classic issue of you go to semi or no, you go to full auto from semi, and it doesn't shoot full auto, it just clicks basically. So that's this thing. So I'll just not into the thread hopefully, but around on the underside of the ARL I will just apply a loop because I want, and also on top into the basically where the screw holds it down, I just apply a little bit of loop that hopefully usually fixes it. If not, well, that's just stock V3 gearbox issues at that point, and it's kind of normal. So let's reassemble it. Spring, I think it will be easier to put the spring onto the knob. The knob is here inside. I'll just put the spring on. We'll aim this little knob onto the spring, put it on its place, and screw it down, not a lot. We could even maybe use Loctite since it's such a little screw. Seriously, a little, just so it doesn't move when you move the ARL itself. I'll move it a bunch just to distribute the loop a little bit. Now we have the trigger contacts. I mean, they are held by screws here, and on the bottom you can undo the screws and you can take out the copper contacts from inside, and you can clean them out if you are using 11.1 volt LiPo on a stock gun without a MOSFET, which is by the way fine. Many people say you cannot because you will burn these contacts, and it is true. It will degrade much faster than if you were using 7.4, but these contacts can, as you can see, the gearbox can be opened quite easily. The contacts can be taken out also quite easily, and this can be just cleaned with Scotch-Brite. Maybe the contacts itself inside, it's basically looking like this, and this goes into these contacts and basically connects. So you can even bend them a little bit, but they cannot touch together, or otherwise it will shoot all the time. And this just goes in there. You cannot really put it in wrong because it has these little pegs on each side, and it doesn't fit anywhere else than how it should. How to know how you put it back is that you have this little knob on the top, at the top. That knob also is for the spring. So let's look how to put on back the spring. And this one is a little tedious. You just hook it on the knob. There are two small pegs, like, I don't know if it can be seen. There are like two small pegs here. They are kind of visible. Yeah, and you put the spring in between of those. Also, the trigger contacts have their own surfaces in here. It will slot into that and be held. The plastic shell will slot into that. So let's put it back together. I mean, you can flip it, whatever, it will just be there. So I guess I put it on the bottom because it wants to jump out from this. And I'm putting the other end on this post, on this silver post of the gearbox. Now I just spring it back and lock it into the place by placing it into the grooves. So that's it, that's in there. Now, what to do now? Now let's put back the gears. Just slot them into the bushings or bearings or whatever, not losing any shims in the process. I could re-grease this, but we can do it later too. So let's put this. I have all the shims in there. I'm just looking from the underside. No, we will put this as the last one when we reinstall the ARL. What I could also show you before, if I flip this, the trigger spring, it's this one, there is long and short post on this one. So this short post goes into a tiny hole in this corner. It's right into the corner, and that hole corresponds here in the other side. So in the corner, right into the corner, exactly on that one, it's a post for the spring that will be useful in a minute. But let's take the cylinder and the piston and let's see the compression. So it's well looped. Again, I already see it's pretty nicely looped. Even in there, it's a palm surface for the piston. The piston head is machined aluminum. Everything, I mean, in the piston itself is plastic. That is expected. The last tooth is cut for the take-up. That is nice. I'm not sure what the AOE is on this, but yeah, it holds pressure nicely. Let's see with the nozzle. Yeah, that nozzle could definitely see some improvement. So let's put it back. Let's take the long spring for the tappet. Let's hook the spring. This other end goes onto this post on here. So I'll just hook it there. When I'm assembling it back like that, and I'll just push this whole thing. Hopefully, if I didn't do it on a video, the spring is a bit harder, so come on. Like that. Yeah, that tappet plate is on a weird angle, so I'll move the gears a little bit. Let's see if I can. The holes correspond to these posts, and the cylinder, you will know that the cylinder is incorrectly when you cannot move it front and back. It needs to slot in there. Let's see if something didn't unhook one of these springs. They are okay. So we could do the trigger spring now, or I mean, it would be nice to have two magnets. I could even split them, but let's do it the hard way. I'll put my magnet here. Where do I have my ARL? I am blind. So I'm gonna reassemble the ARL correctly. So round end, flat end, and on the round end we are hooking the spring itself. I will even bend it a little bit so it has nicer, because I can see it's kind of on an angle. That's too much. I mean, that's gonna work. Like this. The spring will not go fully on from the other side anyway, because there is a post. So let's put it on. Let's take it on the post, catch it on the surface, the spring, the long spring on the surface I said. Let's move the magnet so it holds it like this very nicely. Let's reapply the gear. So I'm gonna hold this the ARL in this position. I will reinstall the gear. Like that. We'll click into the place, the arrow, like this. Now I will yet not put the shims on here, because I will now work on the trigger. So the trigger has two parts. This is the part that pushes against the contacts on the back. So you slot this part into the trigger as so, like this. And if you see on this trigger, it has short post, long post. On the long post there comes the spring. Spring has longer side and shorter side. Short side goes into the gearbox, longer side hooks onto the spring, and it goes behind here. So long post goes in here, in this position, as so, like this. And now you need to battle the spring into the gearbox, which is always fun. You could perhaps put the spring, the magnet here, and hold the spring by it, and then put the trigger. But the magnets are so stuck together, they are so strong. So hopefully I'm gonna catch the spring in the corner hole. And you need to put these two posts into the holes on this shell, on these two positions. So you need to hold it and kind of click it inside. If it doesn't click, I have the back post already done, because that is the easiest, as it's not under spring tension. I'll just move this. I'm trying to find. Okay, I'm back. For some reason my shower head started pissing water, but I guess some air got into it. So let's reassemble again into the corner. Let's hook the back part into the hole, and let's try to wrestle the front as well. So I was looking from the side to line the holes here, so I had easier time. Once I readjust the piston, so it sits into grooves, these grooves, in these grooves, obviously, teeth at the bottom. Now that we have disassembled thankfully the trigger holds like this, we can put the shims back onto this gear. As we were wrestling the trigger, they will just fall out as they kind of sit on the tappet plate and everything, and it's just messy. And now we'll just put on the half of the gearbox back, so carefully not to knock down any shims. Let's see if that's on. Usually the trigger wants a little bit of movement so it lines up with the holes, and yeah, kind of just push everything into the grooves. The gears need to be in the grooves. As we can hear, the trigger, or see, the trigger works. I can even see through it, through this hole, that the contacts are moving. We can see it here too, the contacts itself. So everything is as it should. And now just reapply the screws. So I'm still holding the gearbox just in case. I should have changed my tools. These are up here. Thankfully it's easy with this one. Let's do the middle first. Just, I like it. Just finger tight. It's a pot metal shell after all, and these are steel screws. nozzle is returning, trigger is triggering, magnet is not needed anymore, and we can go on to putting back the hopefully without cat hair, the spring, main spring. I have somewhere the guide, so let's push it in, twist it until it locks. Now I want the plastic piece for the trigger, or for the rear of the trigger, for the gears. It just slots there. What now? Now we can put back the selector, whatever, like that. Let's put the top on. It has basically corresponding cutouts, so you cannot put it wrong, as this flat side always needs to meet this knob on the gearbox. So you just slot these two halves together. And if it can move it forward against the knob, as we will be tightening the screw. Just a little bit, not too much. This plate has a round knob and a flat knob. That flat knob rides in the gearbox and blocks the trigger. We line up the first gears, the first tooth of the gear, and this is basically the operation as it was on a safe auto semi for the YouTube, I guess. So let's test. I will painfully reinstall the screws so I don't destroy any gears. I guess I didn't even need to. Okay. Let's see on semi. Finally. Let's try full auto, I guess. And That's how it should work. So we can also show how to put it back for the YouTubes. I'm trying not to, I'm peeling it with metal, but I'm trying not to short the contacts. Obviously that would be stupid, because it's so damn hard to remove. Okay. And obviously, since I need to put it back the way I put it out, I need to undo the screws, and also, so we don't forget, we'll reinstall the shield, or whatever it's called, the metal thingy that kind of keeps the gearbox together. Let's not mangle the wires. Let's keep an eye on it. If it doesn't go in, tap it in with the rubber part of the pliers. Why is it like this on LCT? Let's hope. We can put it back together. Because the nozzle is back, I can actually tilt it up like this. If it wasn't, it would be an issue. The virus has a cutout here in the body of the AK, so the wires go in there. What is stuck? What is stuck? Just wanted a little tap from the back. Okie dokie. Let's see if the wires are in okay. A little bit deeper. Deeper. Let's screw the screws back. This is not optimal on this back screw on the LCT. I'm not sure why. Why is it like that? Okay. Let's put back the pistol grip, kind of, I guess. I should probably just go ahead and put on the... This one has 2 posts. On the LCT it's kind of harder. Let's see if I can... Yep, nice. The first time I tried it, it wasn't so easy. Let's find the threads. Okay. I could also, I didn't do that, but instead of putting it back in immediately, I could put a little bit of loop under it, so it doesn't need as much of tightening, and it still moves. Basically what you want to do is that when the selector moves, the screw itself doesn't, so it doesn't untwist itself after a while. Let's put the screw for the pistol grip back. Not trying a lot of tightness, just little finger tight. Where did I put the battery? Just to test fire again. When everything is fully assembled. Everything works as it should, so GG, job well done.